13-year-old Kei'Mani Latigue vanished without a trace, and just days later, her body was discovered in a burned-out, abandoned house. But the true shock: police weren't looking for a stranger. They weren't searching for a predator lurking in the shadows. The man they say killed her was her own father. This isn't just another missing child story. This is about a betrayal so personal, so horrific, it's left even seasoned officers speechless. The kind of case that rips apart the illusion of safety inside your own home. And when you hear what happened next, the lies, the manhunt, the chilling discovery, you'll understand why this case has haunted an entire city. "This is one of the most horrific cases I've ever heard of," said a local police official. And it's only just begun. Before the headlines, before the crime scene tape, Kei'Mani was just a kid, a smart, joyful 13-year-old girl with her whole life ahead of her. She was a student at Spring Elementary School in Toledo, Ohio. Known for her love of basketball and her quiet nature, Kei'Mani wasn't someone who got into trouble or wandered off without reason. Her mother described her as someone who had a simple routine: school, sports, and back home. Kei'Mani wasn't just another face on a missing persons flyer. She was days away from her 14th birthday. Her friends were getting ready to celebrate. Her mom was planning to surprise her. But none of that happened. Instead, her mother was left pacing the street outside a crime scene, begging police for answers, not knowing that the worst was already behind that door. This wasn't some random act of violence. This was personal. Someone Kei'Mani trusted, someone she knew, is now accused of ending her life. Kei'Mani lived under the care of her mother, Tiara Caston, but she also had regular visitation with her father, Darnell Jones, the very man now accused of her murder. According to court records and statements made by family, Kei'Mani had no reason to ever be near the abandoned house where she was found. Her mother was vocal from the start, saying she would go to school, play basketball, and come home. That was it. She didn't go places like that. And that raises one terrifying question. If Kei'Mani didn't choose to go there, who took her? The last confirmed person to see Kei'Mani alive was her father. Police say he was inconsistent about his timeline, gave conflicting statements about her whereabouts, and failed to explain how she could have ended up in that condemned house. We're not just talking about a tragic loss. We're talking about a girl caught between two homes, one where she was loved and protected, and another that, according to investigators, may have been hiding something far more sinister. On March 18, 2025, Kei'Mani Latigue was reported missing. According to initial reports, she was last seen after being picked up by her father, Darnell Jones, for what was supposed to be a routine visit. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until she didn't come home. Her mother, Tiara Caston, quickly sounded the alarm. When police began questioning Jones, they noted something chilling. His story didn't add up. Investigators said Jones gave inconsistent and conflicting statements about what he and Kei'Mani did that day and where she went afterward. He claimed he had dropped her off or left her somewhere safe, but there was no surveillance, no witnesses, and no trace of her. As days passed with no sign of Kei'Mani, hope began to fade. The community started organizing search efforts. Flyers went up. Families lit candles. But behind the scenes, police were quietly turning their full attention to the one person who should have protected her, her father. That's when things took a dark turn. On March 24, 2025, 6 days after Kei'Mani was reported missing, the case took a devastating turn. Toledo police, acting on leads connected to their investigation, entered a burned-out, abandoned home on Miami Street near Wilmot. What they found on the second floor shattered everyone's hopes. The Lucas County coroner later confirmed that the body inside belonged to Kei'Mani Latigue. She had been murdered. The cause of death: multiple incised wounds to the neck. At the scene, investigators began collecting evidence, and it painted a horrifying picture. According to early reports from officials and journalists on site, the girl's hands had been cut off and there were signs of brutal violence. These claims, though not all officially confirmed in court yet, were serious enough to escalate the charges against her father. This wasn't a tragic accident. This was a deliberate act of extreme cruelty carried out in a house no child should have ever entered. And once again, all roads led back to Darnell Jones. Just one day after Kei'Mani's body was discovered, the man police had been closing in on her father. Darnell Jones was finally located in Columbus, Ohio. But it didn't end with a simple arrest. As officers approached him during a tactical operation, Jones allegedly pulled a gun. In the confrontation that followed, police shot and wounded him. He was rushed to a hospital and survived his injuries. Authorities later confirmed that, despite being hurt, he would be fit to stand trial. The arrest was the final piece of confirmation that investigators were waiting for. It came after days of intense pressure, missing child alerts, and public speculation. Now Jones was in custody, and the charges would only grow more severe, according to law enforcement. This is one of the most horrific cases we've ever dealt with. But even with Jones behind bars, the community was left asking, how did this happen? Why didn't anyone see the warning signs? After his arrest, Darnell Jones faced a long list of charges, and every detail made the case more disturbing. He was formally charged with aggravated murder, rape, kidnapping, felonious assault, tampering with evidence. Prosecutors allege that Jones lured Kei'Mani, attacked her in the abandoned house, and then tried to cover it up by destroying evidence, including possibly setting the house on fire weeks later. These aren't assumptions. Investigators say they've built a case on more than 200 pieces of evidence, including surveillance footage, body camera recordings, witness interviews, and most critically, statements Jones allegedly made himself. One affidavit claims Jones admitted to dragging Kei'Mani into the house and cutting her. That same document says his phone data and inconsistent timeline directly contradicted what he first told police. He pleaded not guilty, but a trial is already being prepared, with a tentative start date in April 2026. As the investigation deepened, people started asking, was this tragedy preventable? So far, there's no official record of prior domestic violence convictions or active protective orders against Darnell Jones, but according to Kei'Mani's family, there were red flags. Her mother, Tiara Kasten, has publicly stated that her daughter never would have gone willingly to that house or anywhere alone with her father if she felt unsafe. There's no reason my baby should have been over there. That was not a place she would ever go, she said. While court documents haven't revealed a detailed history of abuse, they do confirm that Jones was the last person with Kei'Mani and that he gave multiple contradictory statements. Some sources close to the family also claim there were tensions and previous issues in the father-daughter relationship, but nothing had escalated to the point of legal intervention. This leads to painful questions. Did the system miss signs of danger? Was there a lack of communication between family services and law enforcement? Right now, there's no public evidence of an open CPS Child Protective Services file, but as the case moves closer to trial, investigators may uncover more about what went unseen before it was too late. As news spread about Kei'Mani Latigue's death, the city of Toledo erupted in heartbreak and outrage. In the hours after her body was found, crowds gathered outside the abandoned house where she was discovered. People brought candles, flowers, photos, and signs, turning the street corner into a memorial. Some came to mourn, others to protest, and many simply to demand answers. Her mother, Tiara Caston, stood near the police line, heartbroken and frustrated. She told reporters, "I just want to know if it's my baby. They're not telling me anything." Community members were especially shaken by the location of the crime, a burned out home in a rough part of town, and the brutality of what Kei'Mani endured. For many, it wasn't just grief, it was anger that no one had stepped in sooner. Vigils were held, flyers were posted, residents organized around the family, and memorial donations were funneled directly through a verified funeral home, the Brown Legacy Memorial in Toledo, to ensure transparency. This wasn't just another headline. For Toledo, Kei'Mani became a symbol of how badly the system can fail our most vulnerable. The case is far from over. As of now, Darnell Jones remains in custody, facing a stack of charges including aggravated murder, rape, and kidnapping. Prosecutors say they have a mountain of evidence, over 200 pieces, and more could still surface as the case heads toward trial. A tentative trial date has been set for April 2026, and if convicted, Jones could face life in prison without the possibility of parole. But for Kei'Mani's family, no sentence can bring their daughter back. Her mother continues to speak out, calling for justice not just in the courtroom, but also in how we treat and protect children. The case has sparked discussions about visitation policies, background checks, and whether the systems designed to protect kids are truly working. In April 2025, a month after the murder, the abandoned house where her body was found caught fire. Though it's still under investigation, many in the community believe it was a symbolic act, an attempt to erase the scene of an unthinkable crime. But the memories, the pain, the demand for justice, they're not going anywhere. Kei'Mani's story isn't just about tragedy, it's a wake-up call. A reminder that evil doesn't always hide in the shadows. Sometimes it lives right inside the home.